What are you the 1% of? I am allergic to temperature extremes. Taking a hot shower or touching an ice cube will give me hives. I had an ear infection travel up what would have been an otherwise asymptomatic formation of my skull, called arachnoid granulation, until it finally reached my cranial cavity. It took a literal team of the best doctors and surgeon, neurologist, multiple neuroradiologists from Northwestern University Hospital and the University of Pennsylvania to first diagnose me and then treat me. I was absurdly lucky to have a friend of the family who is a doctor who was able to call in a favor to get the entire neuroradiology team at UPenn studying my numerous CTs and MRIs. The head of neuroradiology at UPenn told him I have the most unique looking skull he's ever seen. Talk about damning with faint praise. When they finally had a diagnosis, my aunt pulled my skull CT scan up and said, "Do you see that white spot? That's fluid. That's infection, it shouldn't be there. You're very lucky you haven't contracted meningitis, this had been happening for 10 years, undiagnosed. And do you see this black space here? That's air. That should absolutely not be there. Do you ever fly?" I responded yes, all the time, for work, for concerts, regularly, once a month or more. "Well, you absolutely can't fly until this is fixed. Every time you've flown in the last 10 years and the cabin pressurized, that air could have expanded and shifted your brain off of midline and you'd have been dead immediately without knowing anything." They removed an L-shaped infected portion of my skull about 2x6 and replaced it with a titanium mesh plate after sewing the tear in my ear canal shut. It resolved the problem and I haven't had any issues since. I can now fly. Wow, they gave you a superpower. Why have I not read about this? We like to keep it on the hush-hush. Unfortunately, with the plate in my head every time the microwave goes on I forget math. It's a trade-off. Not that I've looked it up, but I've run over a fish in my car. Whenever I tell the story, no one has heard anything like it. I've seen a video of salmon trying to swim over a partially flooded road, was it like that? I guess I'm in the 1% of only having 3 lower front teeth. Me too. I had no idea this was a thing. I just thought I was one weirdo. Did yours move to the center? Do your dentists also play a guessing game to figure out which one is missing? I'm so fascinated. Yay, I found my people. Had to wear braces in my early teens, and they moved to the center. Stayed there since then. If you have a 7 inches, 18 centimeters, penis, you are in the top 1% of men worldwide. Keep that in mind when everyone you know and on the internet somehow has a 8+ inch long. Edit, I recommend everybody take a look at the website I got this info from. Specifically the section titled measurement so that you can get an accurate reading. If you think this number sounds way too short, it's probably because you're measuring wrong. Everyone is in the 1% when you measure from your taint. When I was 12 years old I was so worried girls wouldn't like me because my penis wasn't 9 inches long. That's what happens when the whole world is exaggerating. Edit, is this my most popular comment? Anyways, this song contributed to a lot of my fears. https://m.youtube.com/watch?v=fzfbfx7gk. I think it's like 0.10.5% of women or something, but I have a double uterus. Medically called a Didelphi's uterus. A septum separates my uterus, which kinda made them form into 2 separate ones, and the septum continues down into the vagina, so I also have a left and right side. Not fun to deal with, but I'm too scared to get the surgery for it. Can you get pregnant while pregnant? If so, I would use all contraceptive methods at once. I'm not sure about getting pregnant while already pregnant, but I'm sure that can happen, 1 pregnancy on each side. I actually had an IUD put in before I knew I had this issue as a thing, and that's how I found out about this issue in the first place. They said there would be some discomfort and maybe some cramping for a day or 2 when I first got the IUD put in. Cramping lasted a couple weeks and I was in crippling pain. Turns out the IUD only went into the left side and was so cramped in there, as it only had half of the space it's normally supposed to have, that it was digging a hole into my uterine wall. Even though I had the IUD, I still could have gotten pregnant on the right side since it was completely unprotected. When the IUD was removed, they did an ultrasound to figure out what the issue was. Q 4 or 5 years of doctor's appointments and seeing specialists, and here I am, lol. One of my best friends growing up had an aunt that was the sweetest, most generous woman you could possibly know. She started dating a man that fell in love with her because of how sweet and kind she was. After a month or so of being together, he accused her of being too nice to other people, so he bludgeoned her until she was unconscious and cut her heart out of her chest while she was still alive. He thought that it was the worst example of sheer disrespect that she would exhibit kindness towards other people when she was in a committed relationship. He believed he owned all of the good she had to give, and by being nice to people that weren't him, she may as well have been cheating with the whole town. He killed her for being the person he knew her to be when they started dating. The fact people like him exist is terrifying to me.